Fat Man.
This is not a good case for him to get his feet.
Oh, boy.
When Derek's first case falls
We don't
apart,
just bring you canon reruns with William Conrad. We bring you Jake and the Fat Man reruns with William Conrad.
He's going undercover to nail a ruthless millionaire.
Mr. Wilder's been delayed.
Where else do you get
But just
canon
how far will it
and
go?
Jake and the Fat
This is
Man?
what they mean by
It's all William Conrad.
Next on Jake and the Fat Man.
Thank goodness that's over with. No Jake and the Fat Man coming your way. Corey Johnson with you. The Neutral Ground. Fantasy Friday. Yeah, you right. Tough to beat Fantasy Friday. Got the weekend smack dab in front of us. The work week grinding to a halt, at least for this week. In just a moment, coming up in an hour, our now famous 5 o'clock whistle. I love that. Like you're leaving the plant, like you're leaving the factory, like you've put in a good 40-hour week, you've punched out, and now the glorious weekend smack dab in front of you. We like that little limbo period. We put the spotlight on it a little bit after 5 p.m. with that 5 o'clock whistle. That's coming up in an hour. I know all of you have been waiting for that. An hour away, 5 o'clock whistle. Yeah, you're right. Did I mention it's a Fantasy Friday edition of the program? We got a good one lined up for you. All the usual suspects will be with us. A special edition of Fridays with Fletch, live from, I guess it's the Baton Rouge Baseball Regional. What do you want to call it? The NCAA Regional from Baton Rouge, from Bertman Box. I shouldn't say I guess. It is. LSU, Tulane going at it. I think it's 7th or 8th inning, 6-2 LSU. Fletcher Mackel will join us live from the NCAA Baseball Regional from Bertman Box Stadium on the LSU campus, live from Baton Rouge in about 12 minutes. A special edition of Fridays with Fletch. 6-2 LSU over the Wave. Coming up in less than 30 minutes, a little bit after the bottom of the hour, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. will join us. Michael Hecht, Greater New Orleans Inc. Boy, we've got a full slate, too. Hopefully some good economic news. 5 o'clock powwow besides that wonderful 5 o'clock whistle. Frank Brigtsen will join us in about an hour and 10 minutes, around 5:20. He joins us just about every Friday around 5:20. Frank Brigtsen talking food, talking New Orleans, live from his Riverbend restaurant in the uptown part of New Orleans known as Carrollton. Frank Brigtsen coming up. So, yeah, the usuals, Frank Brigtsen, Michael Hecht, Fletcher Mackel. The usual, Junket Cantrell in Los Angeles. A New Orleans corridor in L.A., a dedication and party and festival. Now, this part you can't make up. So the city of Los Angeles is having some, I don't know, New Orleans corridor. I'm a New Orleanian. I'm a native, so I'm all for that. You know, other parts of the world want to recognize New Orleans. I'm all for it. I've never been to Disneyland in Anaheim, but that New Orleans section looks pretty damn cool to me and pretty authentic, all things, you know, said. So I'm for anything New Orleans outside of New Orleans. So this New Orleans corridor, maybe something dedicated to, you know, an area of town where a lot of folks from the South moved. Maybe there's a substantial number of New Orleanians that have contributed to Los Angeles's greatness over the last 100 years. And they're there. Their names are listed. I can give you one right now. That is Ron Dado, the old USC baseball coach. He's a Cajun boy, a Louisiana native, not from New Orleans, but a Louisiana native that moved out to Los Angeles, coached baseball at USC, multiple national championships, a Louisiana kid that's done a lot. I'm sure in Los Angeles there's a lot of these corridors. because places like Los Angeles, hard to find someone from Los Angeles. Not so much anymore, but 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, you go back in time, it's sort of like the Dallas, Houston, Atlantas of today. Hard to go to Houston, Dallas, or Atlanta and find someone that's 50 plus that was born and raised there. Do they exist? Of course they do. But I'd say 4 out of 5 folks from Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, 50 plus, were not born or raised there. 4 out of 5 were not born or raised there. So lots of transient population. So I'm assuming that's what this New Orleans corridor in LA is about. There's a substantial number of New Orleanians, born and raised New Orleanians, that moved to Los Angeles and contributed to that city and are being recognized. So this dedication and party, the mayor will be there. Junket Cantrell, now in Los Angeles. Second time in LA in about the last 3 months. She did in LA, New York, Miami, kind of a triangulation of fire, a tour of America, several junkets over about a month. And then, of course, that quick 72 hours in Seoul in South Korea. I shouldn't say Seoul, but in South Korea. Junket Cantrell in Los Angeles, New Orleans corridor in LA, dedication party festival featuring, and you can't make this up, Jason, if there's a festival in Los Angeles, New Orleans dedication, the New Orleans corridor, LaToya the Destroyer Cantrell is there. And I'm saying you can't make it up. Who would be the feature artist performing at this New Orleans corridor in LA? What's that?
I gotta hear this.
Irvin Mayfield Jr.
Headline.
Can't make it up. He's the headliner. Seriously. And then it goes into, I think local acts, maybe some with some Los Angeles connection. But Irvin Mayfield is like the pride and joy the mayor brought from New Orleans to Los Angeles for this New Orleans corridor in LA gimmick. And he's the, number one cat. He's the performer. He's the chart topper. Wow. The lead act, Irvin Mayfield, in this Junket Cantrell trip to Los Angeles. What a joke. Irvin Mayfield. Just somehow, some way, folks in power that have control, it could be the mayor, it could be Zulu. They're just hell-bent on hiring Irvin Mayfield. All I can say is to folks in the black community, there are so many black musicians in New Orleans, true New Orleanians, dedicated to the city, real ambassadors, not folks, and they're beloved. They play with other musicians in town. They're beloved. I mean, I don't know what to tell like Zulu or the mayor. Go talk to New Orleans real musicians. I don't know who to tell you who that would be. You name a band and I'll go, yes. Bonarama, Kermit Ruffins, whatever, whoever. Ask them if they like Irvin Mayfield, if they work with Irvin Mayfield, if they respect Irvin Mayfield as a musician or as a person. The guy was never liked, always egomaniacal, not liked by New Orleans musicians, didn't play many gigs outside of his little playhouse gig down at the, where was it? I guess the Ritz. Now, Irvin Mayfield wasn't some, boy, he's one of us. He's a yatty New Orleanian. He's one of those humble musicians you love. Musicians don't like him. You're not seeing Irvin Mayfield at Tipitina's or Maple Leaf. I mean, could it have happened? Did it happen? Maybe so, but it wasn't the popular thing. He's just not a liked person. And then just the way he stole that $1.3 million from the New Orleans library from poor inner city New Orleans kids, and didn't just steal it, but was obnoxious, just egregious spending, not living like someone rich, not living like someone wealthy, living like someone wealthy's children that are ridiculously spoiled. He's like Spalding on Caddyshack. I want a corn dog. No, I want a hamburger. And Ted Knight has to like slap him in the back of the head and say, you'll get nothing and like it. Problem is, Irvin Mayfield's not some wealthy kid's son or grandkid. He's just Irvin Mayfield. So he stole from the inner city of New Orleans. And LaToya Cantrell continues to, congratulate him, advance his career, reward him. I just don't get it. It's part of that loser mentality going down in the city. Hey, when we come back, we're leaving the city. We're going to Baton Rouge, a special edition of Fridays with Fletcher Mackel, live from Bertman Box, LSU Tulane baseball. Michael Hecht, about 15 minutes away. Corey Johnson with you. Fantasy Friday. Yeah, you right.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Our Humane May fundraiser is going on right now. In the month of May, we're trying to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. Donate right now at humanela.org.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
A special edition of Fridays with Fletch, live from the NCAA Baseball Regional from Brigtsen Talks on the LSU campus in Baton Rouge. We're going to start calling him Fletcher Excuse Man Mackel. He's coming up with some lame, I've got to do live drops at Channel 6, my real job, so we have to cut this segment short nonsense again. What's up, Fletch?
Not a lot, Corey, and that is 100% correct, the nonsense you're talking about. We're officially on the clock. I've got another hit coming up here in like less than 10 minutes. So, and I've got to go get ready for it. So we've got a couple of minutes.
So I can waste time making fun, or I could get down to business, right?
We should definitely get down to business.
All right. What's the biggest controversy, Fletch? It's funny. It's a baseball game instead of, what's going on? Tell us the score. Do that to start things off. Tell us what's going on and what is the score. But why is there a controversy? And I guess the controversy is, why did LSU start arguably the best pitcher in all of college baseball against a 4 seed, against a 40-loss Tulane Green Wave team? Take it away.
Yeah, so LSU is winning right now. I had to step out the stadium to go live, but when I walked out, it was 6-2 LSU in the bottom of the 8th. And there's a little bit of a kind of a social media discussion right now because of the fact that Paul Skeens, the LSU ace, is pitching. And you normally don't see that in regional baseball, when there's an alpha host, a number one team like LSU, the 4 seed, like Tulane this year, that is 19-40 and just locked in, they normally don't throw their ace pitcher. What normally would happen historically for these teams is a team like LSU would throw their 2 or 3 pitcher, save their ace for the driver's seat game tomorrow, and put themselves in the catbird seat and be fine. And usually kind of punch their ticket to the super regional. Not to say it can't happen, but pitching Paul Skeens against Tulane, he's been masterful. Through 6 innings, he had 10 Ks, hadn't given up a run. It was like Christians versus Lions, so to say. But I don't know if they needed to do that. So now, tomorrow night, when you're playing the quote-unquote driver's seat game in the winner's bracket, you can still throw your 2 or 3, but you probably could have. Most common sense says you can win this game with your 2 or 3 and you have your ace tomorrow. So it's something that we don't see normally. Most teams do it a little differently than what Jay Johnson did. So I'm curious to see what he has to say after the game about that decision. That
might be the first question out the gate at the press conference. Why'd you start Paul Skeens today instead of tomorrow?
Sure, that is. And then the logic behind it. Look, he can argue that he saved the bullpen. Skeens just went 8 innings. I don't think he's coming back out for the 9th, but he saved his bullpen. If they got into the loser's bracket, they could come through it with a lot of healthy pitching. But again, like the alpha move, so to say, that the way Bertman did it, the way Maneri did it, the way a lot of power programs do it, is you pitch your 2 or 3 against the weakest team in the field, and you save your ace for what is a marquee matchup on Saturday. And that's just, again, that doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. It just means historically it's what power programs do, and what Jay Johnson did is different. And look, no one's going to care if LSU's number 2, Ty Floyd, tomorrow night wins the game and LSU's in the driver's seat. Now, if LSU loses tomorrow, Jay Johnson is going to get destroyed on social media and in the media.
Yeah.
So why did you throw Skeens? And then you let your 2 or 3 lose on Saturday night and put yourself in a difficult situation for Sunday and potentially Monday.
Who's playing tonight? The nightcap game.
The nightcap is Oregon State and Sam Houston State.
So that the winner of that LSU.
The winner of Oregon, yes. So if this game finishes like we've seen, LSU will be in the winner's bracket, Tulane in the loser's bracket. Tulane will play tomorrow at 2. LSU will play Saturday at 8. And it'll be the 2 winners and the 2 losers. And one of the losers will be gone. And then one of the winners tomorrow night will be in a catbird seat of having to be beaten twice over 2 days. And all these other teams will be on the ropes.
So when would a potential championship game be?
Sunday night at 8 p.m. And then if there's a winner-take-all game, it would be Monday at a time that is TBD.
Gotcha. And then LSU, because they're a 1 seed and the 5 overall, they would host a super regional?
Correct. Next week, they would welcome the winner of the Kentucky regional, which would be Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, or I forgot who the 4 seed is over there. A forgettable team that probably won't make it. So it's probably going to be Kentucky, West Virginia, or Indiana. One of those 3 teams coming here for a super regional if LSU wins this thing.
What a hack. He couldn't spout off the entire Kentucky regional. I'm joking, Fletch. That's amazing. You knew the 3 out of 4. Excellent work as usual. Hey, before we let you go, because I know you got live drops to do on Channel 6, NBA Finals, Denver's up 1-0. 4-0, 4-1. Can Miami win one? I kind of think Miami can win one too, with Butler, but I don't know. Utah just seems like they're going through the motions and winning.
Yeah, and I got to go after this. I do apologize. I picked Denver in 5, gentleman's sweep. I think Miami gets 1 at home and it ends in 5. Look, I said that Denver, it was cute with the Lakers and Golden State, and the Lakers were, obviously did a good job. But once they got to Denver, I said they've met the buzzsaw, and this is it, and they got swept. Boston needed to get in because Boston's been too talented all season, even though they've been inconsistent, to give Denver a run. Denver's been the best team in the West all season long. And look, I think Eric Spoelstra's maybe the best coach in the NBA. Jimmy Butler, I've used this team term alpha already today, but they're on borrowed time at this point. That I can't see. The fact that they've gotten this far is almost unfathomable. I think it's a gentleman's sweep that they get 1 in Miami, but it ends in 5. Denver's just too good.
We'll check you out live from Bertman Box in Baton Rouge on Channel 6. Thanks, Fletch.
All right.
That's Fletcher Mackel joining us live from the NCAA Regional. 8th inning, LSU leads Tulane 6-2. Michael Hecht's going to join us in about 5 minutes, New Orleans. You can too on this Fantasy Friday. Phone calls are always welcome. 766-9480. 766-9480. I do have a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate to give away. You can't use Google Maps or search engines, the intranet device. You either know the answer to the trivia question or you don't. Orleans Parish, in between West End and Franklin, right on Allen Toussaint Boulevard, there are 4 lakefront neighborhoods by name. One you could argue is 2 different ones, east and west. But essentially there are, so that would be 5. But they're really 4 lakefront neighborhoods in New Orleans between West End and Franklin. Give me those 4 lakefront neighborhood names, and I've got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. 766-9480 on this Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, 4 lakefront neighborhoods. Lake Blank, Lake Blank, Lake Blank, and Lake Blank. They all start with Lake. One of the neighborhoods you could argue is 2 neighborhoods, West Lake Blank and East Lake Blank. The neighborhoods in between West End and Franklin along Allen, Toussaint, and Leon C. Simon. You got Canal Boulevard cutting through one. You've got the Orleans Avenue Canal cutting through one. Bayou St. John cutting through one. University splitting a couple together. I shouldn't say things cutting through them. Canal Boulevard cuts through one. But the Orleans Avenue Canal and Bayou St. John just separate, actually, the neighborhoods. Give me those 4 lakefront neighborhoods in Orleans Parish. Give me the names, and I'll give you 50 big bucks at one of the 5. Whoops, I was about to say 4. 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Mandeville coming online about 6 weeks ago. Mandeville, Slidell, 2 on the North Shore. New Orleans, Metairie, 2 on the South Shore. Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. They got you covered at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Junket Cantrell in Los Angeles. This is about the 5th junket in the last 3 months. And 2 times to L.A. Miami, L.A., New York, South Korea, now L.A. Junket Cantrell in Los Angeles for the New Orleans Corridor in L.A. dedication or, ceremony, some party and festival. Featuring, and I can't make this up, the headliner, Irvin Mayfield. Cannot make this crap up. How many other black musicians in New Orleans? Forget about black. I mean, any musician that you want. Black, white, Latino, Asian. Get Jun Yamagichi on guitar. He's Japanese. Whatever. You get the best New Orleans musician. You want to make it black for cultural reasons? Go for it. White, homogenous. I get it. Get a black musician. How many black musicians in New Orleans would love a vacation, a trip to Los Angeles to perform? Free airfare, free hotel room, free food per diem. Come back and have a paycheck for the gig. How many black musicians in New Orleans that are much more worthy of the gig than Irvin Mayfield would love this job, would love this opportunity? It's got to be north of 100. It's got to legitimately be dozens and dozens and dozens, if not north of 100. And for some reason, Junket Cantrell, I do a lot of crooked stuff, deviant behavior. Some would say criminal. Irvin Mayfield and I are kind of cut out of the same cloth. Both painfully average at what they do. Corey Johnson. Yeah, you right. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Michael Hecht, Greater New Orleans Inc. Next.
The Woodhouse Day Spa with 5 area locations. New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitive prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Our Humane May fundraiser is going on right now. In the month of May, we're trying to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. Donate right now at humanela.org.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City. Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Every day this program on television, on radio, live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. We're on YouTube, Corey Johnson Neutral Ground. Every day it's brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner, the car corner of Williams Boulevard and I-10, right on the corner, right on the price. Number 1 Ford dealership in the region. Lamarck Lincoln in Kenner, number 1 Lincoln dealership in the state. The Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. And Ronnie Lamarck going across the parish towards the river, scooping up the legendary Ford truck and SUV dealership. That's right. Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway, now under the Lamarck umbrella. Every day this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway. Hey, every week, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. joins us on the program. What's up, Michael?
What's up, KJ? How you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. Yourself on this hot Friday, but one thing's saving us. It's like 88 out there, but it's like 50% humidity. But we're about to fade into the 90s, Michael.
It's gorgeous. And look, I'm excited because I am taking a road trip this weekend.
Nice. Where are you road tripping to? New Orleans East or Harvey?
What? Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Wow.
Yeah. You ever been there?
Well, I'm drinking some Mountain Valley water right now, so it's in my body, Michael.
Yeah, well, that's right. You do. You know, you embody Hot Springs, Arkansas.
I have never been. I went to the Buffalo River. I probably went through Hot Springs, 30 years ago when I was at LSU. But no, I don't think I've ever really experienced Hot Springs, Arkansas besides that.
I'll report back. Apparently there's a lot of old mafia history there, which reminds me, do you see the news about Al Pacino?
Yeah, the ridiculous news that he's 83 years old and is having a baby like his buddy Robert De Niro at 79. Yeah, I saw that ridiculous news. Was that is that the positive spin you were looking for?
Why don't we get to the news? I've got more interesting news than. What do you?
Hey, Michael, when you're twice your age, you can have another kid.
Oh, it gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah, and the kid too. Dad died when I was 5 of old age, natural causes.
At 102.
Exactly. It's absurd. It really is. I love the Nick Cannon, Eddie Murphy, Elon Musk, this 10-12 kid gimmick. It's like, really? I like the procreating part too, fellas, but there's a thing called being a father, and it's impossible when you've got that many kids and you do what you do. Okay, Michael, why don't you kick that soapbox right out from under me?
No, I don't want to. We're going to end up moving on to like Will Chamberlain, and then it's going to go.
It's going to get ugly. That was a topic on the show. What? Al Pacino on Wednesday. You know, it was a topic on the show yesterday.
What?
Trader Joe's coming to Tulane Avenue.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, look, Tulane Avenue has quietly been one of the real post-Katrina success stories. I mean, it's got a vibe now. It's got some nice restaurants, some nice, legitimate, non-by-the-hour hotels. And this is, I think it's got the Chick-fil-A.
I think the Drifter and the Four Seasons have a reciprocating deal going, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they should.
You're so right, Michael. I mean, Galvez is amazing at Tulane, in between Tulane and Canal Street, the VA, University Hospital, all those Schwartz apartments. No, Tulane has had a total transformation, and it continues. The changing of, I mean, I used to always tell people, like, if they said something ridiculous, I'd say you have a better chance of turning left on Tulane Avenue. You actually can do that now. There's a median. It's a different street, Michael. You're right. And the Chick-fil-A you mentioned, but how about this and this will be a good fade into Metairie. This Feil family out of New York that owns a lot of Metairie and Lakeside Shopping Center and a bunch of other things. They own this little plot of land on Tulane Avenue, about 3 blocks towards the CBD off of Broad, kind of the back end of the VA hospital, right by the Dixie Beer facade. That block right next door is going to become a brand new Trader Joe's.
Yeah, no, it's great because Trader Joe's is one of those places that I can't tell you why, but it just has that like IKEA thing, it's an anchor, and it's going to attract other development. And Jeffrey Feil has been, fantastic to this region. He basically owns most of Metairie, but unlike some developers, he keeps putting his money into it. He keeps redeveloping Lakeside Shopping Mall, keeps upgrading the Lakeway Towers. He's putting in new products. So he does a great job with the product, and he's a real old school, wants to do a good job developer.
He owns the Galleria, owns the Gateway Apartments next door, owns 123 Lakeway on Causeway at the lake, owns Lakeside Shopping Center, owns a bunch of the buildings around Lakeside Shopping Center. No, and properties, and owns this spot on Tulane, apparently. So it's amazing what that family's done. And Lakeside, couple of things, Michael. Per square foot, one of the most lucrative shopping malls in the South per square foot. They do ridiculously well. And second, they're kind of bucking the shopping mall trend. You just mentioned it. They keep upgrading it, adding on. I mean, a decade ago, the Macy's, the parking garage, the Restoration Hardware, the Cheesecake Factory. Now you have they get rid of Red Lobster. They get this beautiful Lee Michael jewelry. Across the street was that across from the Flemings, and I should mention the Fleming Steakhouse. They just gutted that building. It's becoming like some kind of 24-hour emergency care. And then a few blocks down, Melville, Dewey, and Causeway, they've got an entire city block, and they're building another strip mall, which apparently already has an anchor tenant waiting to go in.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And, it's one of the best spots in the South where Causeway meets I-10. So, it's good news, and I love going down. I intentionally drive down Tulane sometimes, just to kind of look at the new stores and the new restaurants.
Yep. Yeah, they don't stop, man. It's amazing. It really is. Hey, preparing for liftoff in the east, huh?
Oh yeah, it's exciting. You know, I can't say enough times how important it is for people to recognize what we have going on out there. We are building the largest rocket in human history. It's going to put the first woman and person of color on the moon by 2025, they're saying.
Yep.
And then prepare us for mission into to Mars. And so it's important just to remember this is a place that every manned spaceflight since the 60s has been developed. There was a concern that was happening that after the space shuttle died, that it was going to go away and we were going to lose it. And instead, now we have about 2,000 plus employees there working on some of the most significant technology in human history, including the longest windmill blades ever designed, also being designed and tested out there by Ellen Wind Power. So good stuff coming. We have a new office park being built out there, a new called Propel Park for people that are in the aerospace industry. And, you know, I don't know. And I'm cautiously optimistic that Bayou Phoenix is going to get done at some point, too. So I think that there are springs of growth happening out there. And I got to tell you, don't tell anybody. This is not for publication on the air, but we're talking to the folks from IKEA. And hopefully we can get something going there.
Wow. Now, that's funny you mentioned that. Would that be for the old Lowe's site or built from the ground up?
We don't know. They've got a new product, and it's smaller. And we don't know, you know, kind of where, you know, what would make sense. But we do know that geographically, we make a lot of sense for them because the closest IKEA is Houston and, I don't know, Atlanta.
Yeah, or South Florida or something. No, there's none. There's none around here. You're totally right, Michael. I was talking to Oliver Thomas about that, and I brought up IKEA specifically for the Lowe's, and not this stepchild that you're talking about. Maybe this smaller version of an IKEA or whatever they're doing. Look, the Target was probably a done deal until the mayor opened her mouth, and the Target would have been great. I was praising it, but one exit down, you have that Walmart superstore. So it's kind of a copycat. It's duplication. It's competition, which is great. And I'd welcome the Target. But the Target's not going to draw anyone except people that live in the East. And that's great. I'm not knocking it. You put an IKEA, a full-blown IKEA in that Lowe's on I-10 at Reed, you not only get people in the East, you get people from the West Bank, from the North Shore, from Kenner and Metairie, from Slidell. You get people from Southern Mississippi would tool into that IKEA to buy that European furniture. So that would be such a boost. You know, Target, local boost, great. Something that brings in folks from the region, incredible.
Yeah. So, you know, we're going to keep on pushing on that. And, you know, that one I would also put into the cautiously, not unrealistically optimistic category.
And that would be somewhere in the East?
I don't know where it would be. Not necessarily.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know,
you're not talking these.
Yeah.
So it could be somewhere in Orleans Parish, or would it be Metairie possibly?
Yeah, we don't know. It could be, I would say New Orleans or Metairie.
Gotcha.
Because, you know, what it really is about with them, it's going to be about where they can get the best drive-in traffic. And so to me, and this is just speculation, this is not, I want to repeat, based on a conversation.
Well, hang on, Michael. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to get you on the flip side of this break about repeat. Don't mood anyone.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Our Humane May fundraiser is going on right now. In the month of May, we're trying to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. Donate right now at humanela.org.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans Inc. Sorry about that, Miguel. That break train comes down the track, so it'll just run you over.
You got to get on the train or get run over. I get that.
Yep. Didn't mean to cut you off. Please continue.
Golly, remember what I was talking about?
We were talking about you and me both. We're talking about the IKEA mini store and where it might go in Metro New Orleans.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. So to me, there are two logical locations to put it. One is New Orleans East. The other would be kind of the Kenner area, like Esplanade Mall area.
Wow, nice. Yeah, they could use that leg up.
Right. It's got to be one of those two because you're trying to place it where you're going to get the most highway traffic. So I don't think this will be like one of the downtown Target stores that they do now in urban environments or something. My guess is that it's got to still be on I-10 and that it's going to be, depending on what the studies say, either on the east or the west side of kind of the South Shore.
Michael, it's Corey with his happy thoughts. So nothing at the Lowe's right now. The Target not happening, at least right now. Across the street, no shovels in the ground at the Mackey Film Studios at Reed and I-10 on the lakeside. Six Flags now. All of a sudden, Troy Henry and Bayou Phoenix want 10 to 15 million bucks from the city. Oliver Thomas, probably not the best person to be pushing for that, considering he works for Troy Henry at the radio station. So Troy Henry's upset. Just a lot of announcements, Mike. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Pontchartrain Beach now a no-go. Talk about West End. Who knows if that'll happen? Lincoln Beach, 25 mil lined up. Who knows if that'll happen? It gets frustrating, but Pontchartrain Beach is officially not happening right now, which is really disappointing. The renderings, the idea, everything behind it looked fantastic.
Yeah, I would just, my opinion, that this was a speed bump. I think that we're going to be able to revive that and get it back up in a posture. It's the right idea for the area. It's the right idea for the region. It just needs to be, the process needs to be managed in a different way. I guess is the way I would say it. The actual concept, the idea is wonderful. And if you poll it, the vast majority of people, 90% of people want it brought back.
Yep.
But you got to be, how you do these things matter. And if you do it in the wrong way or bring in front of people who are either misguided or then, you could find a great idea rejected. But no, that one is far from dead, in my opinion. I think there are other ways to skin it. Essentially, we're trying to give the South Shore a similar amenity to what the North Shore has with Fontainebleau State Park, except frankly more accessible.
Yeah, I'm hoping this thing goes. I think those neighborhoods around it with the security and trash concerns, those are legitimate concerns. And maybe the Pontchartrain Beach Foundation didn't really have the whole plan together, or the right answers, or the right answers that left those neighbors with confidence. If you go by Franklin and Lakeshore Drive, Michael, almost after any weekend, it's like, do people know what a trash bag is? It's sometimes it's just a mess. Crawfish season, just crawfish shells left piled up, food trays. It's unhealthy. It's disgusting. So I think those neighbors are worried about that happening at a new Pontchartrain Beach.
Yeah, no, and look, in my experience with deals like this, you've got to take these concerns seriously.
Yep.
And take them at face value and try to solve them. And then what happens is, once you've solved them, you realize that for most people, when their issues are addressed, they appreciate the attention, they appreciate the solution, and you're good. And then there's like a hardcore who just is never going to get to yes because they just don't want it.
And both ways, the developers too. There's some developers that are like, we've just got our plan. We don't need to consult with the neighborhood. I mean, I don't know when it happened, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Whoever said, let's consult with the neighborhood was the genius. And that's just the regular deal. You got to do that. But you're right, Michael. I didn't mean to cut you off. You get these belligerent morons that, like Habana Outpost, no Habana Outpost people.
Right.
This selfish attitude, and it's not good.
That was an extreme example. And they just messed with the wrong Golden Glove.
Yep.
Independently wealthy, smart Irish boxer.
No, it was brilliant. I love those entitlement mentality New Orleanians that think they know what's best, that are actually selfish, and we're pushing for this blight to continue. Got their rear ends handed to them. Hey, Michael, what's going on with this 2023 Goldman Sachs Small Business Program?
Well, this is one that I just encourage anybody who has a small business who's not gone through it to go to Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business and apply by June 7th. Everybody who's gone through that program has said that it is just it's one that taught them how to stop managing cash and start managing their business. Or I think somebody said, before Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business, my business was running me. Now I'm running my business. And I was initially skeptical, Corey. I was like, it's just Goldman being forced to do this, by the government. But man, they've come in and developed a program that, without exception, small business owners who have gone through it have said it was transformative. So
wow.
I encourage people to go online and find the link and to apply.
Hey, Michael, next week, let's talk about the legislative session and some bills that are of importance.
Friend, we'll do the whole rundown. We're having a pretty good session. The substance to nonsense ratio is about 2 to 1. So I'll be happy to report back, as well as on the highlights from Hot Springs, Arkansas.
All right, man. Get some of that Mountain Valley water for me. Michael, always a pleasure, brother. Be careful in the Buffalo River.
Have a great weekend, Corey.
That's Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. This segment every week brought to you by Latrim. That's Blue Boys saying stick around. 5 o'clock powwow on a Fantasy Friday.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM. WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
Did you have any problem with Angel Reese? There was a photo of her coming off the bus, holding the phone with the...
And that was a bunch of bull. That was Photoshop, that young lady. That's social media for you. How dare somebody do that?
No, I was wondering if it was Photoshopped or if it was real.
You just got the real answer from somebody who was there.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Yabba dabba dabba do. It is Friday. And because it's Friday and I want to go party, Jason and I are taking off right now. Have a great weekend, everyone. Flintstones reruns. 2 of them back to back coming your way now. We're out of here. We're going to party like it's 1997. A full 2 years before Prince was thinking about partying. All right, no Flintstones. Although just recently I did go to a barbecue joint where they put a slab of ribs on the little tray hooked to my car window, one of those drive-up places, and my car did fall over, just like Fred Flintstone. The rack of ribs was so large. No Flintstones. Corey Johnson with you. The neutral ground. Yeah, you're right. And the best part? Well, a few things making it the best part today. It's the 5 o'clock power hour, and it's a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. That means the weekend is creeping up on us, like starting right now. That means the work week for most of us is history. It's in the books. I love this very time of the week. Right now, smell the roses. This limbo period in between the work week ending and the weekend beginning, we recognize it by blowing the 5 o'clock whistle. I said we recognize it by blowing the 5 o'clock whistle? Yeah, you right, 5 o'clock whistle. On a Friday, appropriately brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. Why aren't you at Katie's right now? The perfect wind down the week, wind down the day spot. They're cranking up dinner as we speak. Lunch, dinner, every day except Sunday when they have their Sunday brunch. Why aren't you at Katie's in Mid-City right now? The quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Old school, a Mid-City mainstay. Katie's in Mid-City, 5 o'clock. I was about to say power hour, actually, the 5 o'clock whistle. My bad. Brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. Don't forget about Scott Craig's other place, too, Francesca Deli and Pizzeria in Lakeview. Corey Johnson with you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Our usual gig It was a special edition, though, this week of Fridays with Fletch. Fletcher Mackel joined us live from the NCAA Baseball Regional from Bertman Bach Stadium on the LSU campus in Baton Rouge. The Tigers just finishing up a few minutes ago, defeating the Tulane Green Wave 7-2. 7-2. The Tigers go into the winner's bracket. They'll play the Oregon State Sam Houston State winner. Tulane will go into the elimination game bracket. They'll play the Oregon State Sam Houston State loser. Those two go at it tonight. I believe the loser's bracket game is tomorrow afternoon. The winner's bracket game tomorrow night up at Bertman Box in Baton Rouge on the LSU campus. Yeah, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed that report from Fletcher Mackel. Again, LSU 7, Tulane 2. That's a final. You also missed a good 25 minutes with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. discussing a slew of topics. Frank Brigtsen, New Orleans chef's going to join us in 10 minutes from his Riverbend restaurant, talking a little food on a Friday. Can I get a yeah, you right out of you? Yeah, you right. Hey, the 5 o'clock powwow on this Friday, brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. Knock out that paint project when the weather's right. Benjamin Moore Paint. They've got so many different lines, so many different price points of high-quality Benjamin Moore paints from Helm Paint and Decorating. I can tell you this. If I would have painted my house with a 25-year warranted Benjamin Moore product from Helm Paint and Decorating, it's a lifetime paint. You're not painting again. 25 years is just them covering their rear end. Basically lasts forever. I took it one level up. They've got a few different lines of lifetime warranty paint, and I went with that, a Regal Select line. And I'll never, ever paint my house again unless I want to. And because it's Benjamin Moore and it's Helm Paint and Decorating, because it's affordable, I can change the color in 5, 10, 15 years if I want to. These so-called coating companies out there, it's a scam. It's not revolutionary. It's not designed for our climate. It's an elastomeric paint that's been around for decades. It's a rubberized paint that 99% of professional painters would say it's unnecessary. It's overkill. You don't need that. Plus, it's more expensive than conventional paint. Go with this, not that elastomeric paint. So these so-called coating companies, what they really are, and I'm not kidding you, the world's most expensive home painting company. That's all they are, disguised as some revolutionary coating company. You want to get ripped off? You want to pay like literally 3 or 4 times more than you need to paint your house? Go with those guys. When on the commercial they say more affordable than you think, you know it's expensive. Plus, any professional painter anywhere wouldn't use this product and would agree with me and tell you it's not needed. Go with the pros. They'll steer you in the right direction. The 1 out of 100 application where you might need elastomeric paint, they've got you covered at Helm Paint and Decorating. They'll steer you in the right direction. 7 locations, free 2-hour delivery. The 5 o'clock powwow this afternoon brought to you by Helm Paint and Decorating. On this Fantasy Friday, LSU 7, Tulane 2, Junket Cantrell. What did I tell you a few months ago after the New York, LA, Miami Junkets? She's going international, and I don't think staying in the Western Hemisphere, and I don't think Europe. I'm thinking Middle East or maybe Asia. Asia was the ticket, South Korea. Now Junket Cantrell is in Los Angeles. A New Orleans corridor in LA dedication or some ceremony. I'm assuming Los Angeles because it's a transient city. It's got lots of areas, I'm guessing, dedicated to folks from other areas that could be counted as a group. Folks from Detroit, folks from New York, folks from wherever that did something positive for LA. So I'm assuming it's New Orleanians, people born in New Orleans, moved to LA and contributed to Los Angeles. This New Orleans corridor in LA. Anyway, there's a dedication and a small party kind of festival gimmick featuring, and I can't make this up, Irvin Mayfield Jr. is performing at this with the mayor. No, it makes sense. Junket Cantrell, deviant, criminal type behavior. You get the exact same thing with Irvin Mayfield, and both just painfully average. Nothing special. No, deviant criminal type behavior, taking advantage of New Orleans taxpayers. The mayor does it all the time on every one of these junkets, taking money away that could be used for the city of New Orleans. And with the mayor, over her 5+ years, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars in junkets, literally. And Irvin Mayfield, another one that pilfering taxpayer money, he's the featured act. I mean, only LaToya Cantrell and Irvin Mayfield can pull that kind of gimmick off. And what I say to Junket Cantrell on an event like this, how many legitimate, honest, hardworking black musicians that want that gig, that would love that job, that would love a free airline ticket, a free vacation to Los Angeles, free hotel room, free meals, and get paid and play in some Los Angeles festival, legit or not? How many legitimate, real black musicians in New Orleans would love that gig? Instead, you give it to this criminal Irvin Mayfield? No, I mean, usually who your friends are is who you are. Who your friends are is who you are. And Irvin Mayfield and LaToya Cantrell are pals. And one thing they have in common, they like pilfering New Orleans taxpayer money. All right, got that out of my system. Kaboom goes the dynamite. A much more positive force joining us in less than 5 minutes. We'll go to the Carrollton section of Uptown. Frank Brigtsen will join us from his restaurant, Brigtsen's in the Riverbend. Michael Hecht joined us last hour from Greater New Orleans Inc. That's always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant that, by the way, is hiring dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs on their website. You're looking for a new job? You're looking for a new career? Latrim's got you covered. Go to their website, latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLA.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLA.com, your cool spot.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread.
Our Humane May fundraiser is going on right now. In the month of May, we're trying to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. Donate right now at humanela.org.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Did you know Leidenheimer Baking Company has been around in New Orleans since 1896? 1896, over 125 years, 5 generations, family owned and operated. And they still bake that Leidenheimer French bread right here in New Orleans, still in Orleans Parish. Served in the city's finest restaurants. That shrimp, roast beef, oyster po' boy you're probably enjoying, if it's good, it's on Leidenheimer French bread. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread. Leidenheimer Baking Company since 1896. That is absolutely amazing. Really is. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. The weekend is upon us. Every Friday, a little after 5:20, I love going to the Carrollton section of Uptown, the River Bend. Little Creole Cottage. They've been at it nearly 40 years. One of the finest restaurants anywhere. James Beard Award winner. Frank Brigtsen joins us again on the program. What's up, Frank?
Corey Johnson, where you at? At TGIF.
I never understood the where you at in between the A and the T. I don't understand that.
Well, it depends on where you're from.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean, Cap?
Yep, I get it, Cap. Boss, chief. Hey, speaking of head chef, owner, operator, Brigtsen's, although Marna, your wife, might argue that with me. What's on the menu? What you got cooking over there tonight?
Well, we're celebrating summer, that's for sure, Corey. We got seafood okra gumbo with shrimp, Creole tomato salad. The Creoles are in, and they are ruby red, beautiful and sweet.
Boy, that's a good back-to-back right there. Can I get the Creole tomato salad? Can I get a cup of gumbo? That's a good start.
Yeah, that's strictly summer, right?
Yeah.
And these are beautiful tomatoes, thick sliced, served with thin sliced Vidalia onions, a pesto balsamic vinaigrette, and ricotta salata cheese over the top.
Wow, that's just fantastic. Yeah. That's all you need. Knife and fork, go to town on that. What's the gumbo all about, the seafood gumbo?
This gumbo is made with shrimp stock. We do put gumbo crabs in there to get some richness. okra is sauteed with a little tomato. We add half the okra in the beginning so it breaks down and gives you a nice body to the broth, and then add the second half of okra at the end so you get nice pieces of okra in there. We saute the shrimp to order so they're nice and plump and fresh, and it's got some andouille sausage in it as well.
Wow. Hey, Frank, tell us real quick before we move on, does this specific gumbo have filet in it? And what is filet for? And it seems like adding it after the fact, like some people do. I've seen it actually like on a table, like to add it after the fact. That seems like putting Tony Chachere's on crawfish that are already boiled. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fill me in on all of that.
It's kind of an old school thing with filet because when you add it to hot liquid, it can get stringy. And I have seen it that way too.
Was it a thickening agent for gumbo?
Well, yes, and also a flavoring. I rarely mix gumbo filet and okra. I think they kind of fight each other a little bit. The only time I use both of them is in this vegan Creole okra gumbo that I make. With no seafood and no meat, I wanted to taste like gumbo, so I use both okra and filet. But both of those ingredients, okra and filet, have a thickening property. But I find the flavors can clash a little bit, so I feature one or the other. I use okra for my seafood gumbo and filet for my meat gumbos.
And what is filet, a root?
It is ground sassafras leaves. Think of bay leaves as similar to that, and then ground classically in a big old mortar and pestle to a very fine powder. And it has sort of a grassy, herbaceous taste and aroma to it. There's a definite flavor for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a weird flavor. I mean, I don't want to say it's bland, but it's sort of, I don't know how to describe it.
It's very unique, and it's an ingredient that was originally used by Native Americans here in Louisiana as a thickener for their stews. So that was the original use of it, to thicken a stew and make it hearty.
And now how does your gumbo end up, Frank? Is it like a kind of a thick gumbo that you'd see like maybe like Commander's, or is it a watery gumbo that's almost like water that you'd see like it maybe, Little Dizzy's on Esplanade, something like that?
Mine's right down the middle. It's definitely got some viscosity to it, but it's not overly thick.
Yep.
It's not a stew, but it definitely has some body to it.
Crawfish fading out. What, shrimp and crab meat fading in a little more?
Exactly right. I told my staff today this is the last week for crawfish. We've been using the crawfish tails in our seafood platter, and next week we'll switch to shrimp and crab meat.
Nice.
Come up with some new stuff. Yeah.
How can anyone be disappointed? You love when the crawfish come in, but then when they go, you're replacing with shrimp and crab meat. It's just, we're just lucky down here, huh?
Yeah, we are. There's always something in season here, and it's a joy to be a chef in Louisiana, that's for sure. Between the seafood and the produce, the smoked meats, I mean, we got everything going on. We're revamping the menu slightly. We made 2 changes today, and again, these are things that we do in the summertime.
What were the changes?
On the duck dish, we have been doing duck à l'orange.
Uh-oh, cherry time.
Cherry time. So I got some sour cherries in, dried cherries from upper peninsula of Michigan, and we make tart dried cherry sauce. It's got onions and green and red bell peppers in it, and we use the pan drippings from the roasting pan. It has a little sweet and sour aspect to it, has a little rice wine vinegar in it. Not overly sweet, but big bowl flavor. And we're really excited about that. And that's with dirty rice. The roast duck with dirty rice and tart dried cherry sauce. What a combo. And I was able, although the local blueberry season got knocked out by a untimely freeze earlier in the year, I talked to my grower, and he was kind enough to pick 3 flats for me this week. So we have changed the pork chop dish. We have been doing the pork with pork debris sauce, which is a real, hearty type of dish. So we lighten it up. And this time of year, we've made a blueberry cane vinegar glaze.
Wow.
And it's a lovely sauce. It's not sweet, but it's kind of fruity, a fruity, savory sauce.
Boy, perfect with the pork chop, huh?
Oh, my gosh. And I made some smothered Napa cabbage to put with it tonight. So we're excited about that.
That's good stuff. Hey, your philosophy at the seafood purveyor, the guys you go to, BA, best available.
Right. Absolute right.
What was the BA today?
Well, we're still on a good run with speckled trout, and that'll be our pan-fried fish meuniere with roasted pecans, nice speckled trout fillets. And then the broiled fish with crab meat crust will be flounder fillet.
Wow.
Also came in beautiful today.
What a tough choice.
I know. And then if you can't decide, there's always black and yellowfin tuna with smoked corn sauce. And the seafood platter, which is, a little bit of a bunch of things. We'll be revamping that next week. Crawfish go away, and we'll be doing shrimp cornbread. And the sauce on the fish has yet to be decided. And then I'm going to do a little treat on the side. Instead of our jalapeno shrimp coleslaw, we're going to serve another little cold dish. It's crab meat and Creole tomato concasse. So that's peeled, diced Creole tomatoes, and I season them with salt, black pepper, and fresh sweet basil. And then I put I put jumbo lump crab meat in a little cup.
Wow.
And then I put a little bit of that tomato basil concasse on top. Wow. And let it sit for a few hours. And all that, the water from the tomato and the basil and the spice kind of marinates the crab meat.
Wow.
And then we turn that out onto the plate. And, it's so refreshing. Again, just speak summer.
Wow.
The joys of summer.
Guess where I went the other night, Frank?
Where at?
Well, I'll tell you what I had. I had shrimp appetizer with coriander with a black bean cake and some sour cream. And then I had a lamb loin.
Bayona.
Boy, Susan Spicer's just what a great person and a force as far as a chef in this city.
Oh, absolutely. I love her to death. She's always been a dear friend, and I admire her and respect her to no end. Brilliant flavors, influenced and inspired from global cuisine.
Yep.
It's just so creative and so consistently good.
The little house salad with their little homemade dressing was fantastic. It's just a good spot.
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
And that
she put a lot of attention into every little detail.
Rosedale's pretty damn good out by the lakefront.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
She does a good job. Frank, you had a couple of restaurants at once. You had Charlie's on Jefferson Highway for a little while. That had to be some serious juggling. That's like riding a unicycle, juggling the bowling pins while they're lit on fire.
You're not kidding, man. We had Charlie's for 4 years.
It's a long time.
2009 to 2013. So I'm doing both restaurants. And at the same time, I had 3 teaching jobs. I taught at NOLA, I taught at Nichols, and I taught for the public at the New Orleans Cooking Experience every Thursday night.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean, I come into Brigtsen sometimes and I'll take a peep at the kitchen, and I mean, that business is, you got to be cut out for it. It's hard. It's not easy. If you want to fail at it, don't show up for work. The restaurants that work, the owners are there, and it doesn't matter what kind of day Frank Brigtsen's having. You got to go out there and be the best Frank Brigtsen on every time, because that's what the people are expecting. It's like the quality of the food and the consistency. It's a tough gig.
I was explaining that to a young chef last night. She's learning. and she's fabulous, but she's young. And what I explained to her was, you might be making 50 plates of food a night or 80 plates of food a night, but the customer's only getting one.
Yep.
And so every single plate has to be perfect. Take your time, focus, and make sure every single plate is as good as you can make it. Otherwise, you're doing an injustice. And that was a lesson I learned early on from Chef Paul at Commanders, where we're doing 600 people a night. And I've always remembered that.
Yeah, that's what the people are expecting. And if you're cutting corners, you're selling out yourself and the customer.
Absolutely. And if you put out something that wasn't just right.
Exactly. I go to restaurants sometimes, and and they're usually good and consistent. I'll go and they'll throw me out something like that, and I'll call them out on it. I'm just like, what happened? Why am I going to eat something that's not good or not prepared right? And usually they're grateful, because I'm like, this is me. I'm coming back. Somebody that's a tough customer may never return if you serve them this.
Exactly right. No, we want to know. If there's something that's not up to snuff, please let us know. I mean, you can do it nicely. It doesn't have to be, just let us know so we can fix it and be sure the next time is better.
Yeah, I mentioned it to you last week. The crawfish season this year, I hit the trifecta. One of them was that crawfish empanada at La Boca, an appetizer, which is one of the best crawfish pies I ever ate. The crawfish and corn soup that you guys had at Brigtsen's. The crawfish etouffee you guys served at Brigtsen's as an appetizer for a few weeks. Just some of the best crawfish dishes I ever ate. And it's the opposite with you, Frank. I'm finding people to be like, oh my God. And I love, that's the opposite too. I'm enjoying it so much. I want to share that with the staff, and then they have to deal with me like I'm the only person in the world that's saying this is the best thing they've ever eaten. And they usually do. It's just, just a good experience. Great food makes people happy.
We love it. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. And those two dishes, Frank, my God, I can't wait for next crawfish season. Anyway, any openings tonight?
We might have a little something tonight or tomorrow. Marna's on the phone right now. Give her a call and see if there's been any last-minute changes. That happens all the time.
861. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, I just want to throw in one more thing for next week that we're working on too. Starting Tuesday, we're going to change the bread pudding. We're going to have one of my favorites, pina colada bread pudding. Oh, my God.
Nice. 861-7610 is the phone number at Brigtsen's. Put it in your phone. 861-7610 Brigtsen's on Dante in the Riverbend section of New Orleans. Frank, love having you on the program. Always a pleasure, brother.
Same here. I appreciate it. And have a great weekend, everybody. We love you, New Orleans.
That's Frank Brigtsen from his Riverbend restaurant. 861-7610 Brigtsen's on Dante, right off River Road. They've got that Dante Shopping Center, Dante Village Shopping Center, literally 30 feet from the front door of Brigtsen's. So you can park right there. It's well lit. It's right there on River Road. You folks that live out in Old Metairie, Old Jefferson, coming in from Kenner, you get off at Causeway to go to Brigtsen's. Get off at Causeway, take Causeway to River Road. Take a left on River Road. You'll be at Brigtsen's in less than 5 minutes from the corner of Causeway and River Road. So don't get off at Carrollton and go Carrollton, up to the river. I mean, you can if that's convenient. You're coming from Mid-City. You're coming from the lakefront area. You're coming from, any of the other parts of that corridor up Carrollton, uptown. Riverbend, yeah, go that way. But, boy, Causeway to River Road for you, Metairie, Old Jefferson, Kenner, North Shore, wherever. That's the way to go to Brigtsen's. Really, really good. Love Brigtsen's. Yeah, that crawfish etouffee was so good. I literally got it as an appetizer. A week later, I went in and I called in a to-go order. I just said, give me 2 crawfish etouffee appetizers. And I ate them both as my entree for dinner that night. Now, I mentioned this to Frank a few weeks ago as a New Orleanian, 25% Cajun blood, South Louisiana boy. Jambalaya and like crawfish etouffee or shrimp creole, they're terrible dishes 99% of the time. Now, you're going into Cajun country and grandma's making it. It's the best dish you've ever had in your life. I'm talking about at festivals, at restaurants, sort of mass-produced. Dude, there's some brown rice and some sausage. It's jambalaya. No, it's not. No, it's not. I have a great jambalaya recipe. It's got chicken. It's got, the salty pork for seasoning. It's got sausage. It's got crawfish tails. It's got shrimp. It's a pot of liquid with when you add the rice, and then when it's over, it's just the rice. You could scoop it out and throw it against the wall. It would stick to the wall. It's fantastic. Brown rice with sausage is not jambalaya. No, crawfish etouffee, it's like an orangey tomato based with crawfish, just awful. Jambalaya, crawfish etouffee, shrimp creole, just dishes that I never order at restaurants because I know it's going to be at best painfully average and at worst terrible. And then a place like Brigtsen's, and when Frank's like, it was a brown sauce, I'm like, I got to get that crawfish etouffee. And it was absolutely fantastic. And then the crawfish, all little different size crawfish tails. They're fresh Louisiana tails, not those large, universal knuckle size, zero fat Chinese crap crawfish. I don't even eat that stuff. Why settle and eat that when you can get the real deal? Now, I know local crawfish are $15 a pound, and the Chinese garbage is $6 a pound, but you get what you pay for. The Chinese crawfish are terrible, terrible. And no, it doesn't matter the sauce you make and the recipe. You can't tell the difference. I can tell the difference. You can't fool me with out of Louisiana crawfish. You can't cut up 2 tomatoes and go pick the Creole and which one's not. Obviously, I can pick the Creole. It's not that difficult. Obviously, you can tell, taste, the texture, feel the Louisiana crawfish compared to the Chinese crawfish. I'm not into tariffs and those kind of restrictive taxes. I'm a capitalist. I like open market. But in Louisiana, we should almost ban any kind of seafood import. Seriously. Chinese crawfish or Chinese pasteurized crab meat. Almost should ban any of those things. We have the greatest seafood bounty in the world in and around New Orleans. There's unless it's Maine lobster, Dover sole, unless it's some fish or seafood that doesn't naturally come from here, why would you be eating shrimp or, I don't get it. But even then, I guess you could eat those shrimp in Florida. Were they the Royal Reds? Those aren't bad. Those rock shrimp aren't bad. But I'm not getting those in New Orleans. You don't see Royal Reds anywhere in New Orleans. Hey, we brought in the shrimp from Alabama and Florida to New Orleans. I remember going in Joe Patty's in Pensacola, an incredible seafood place that if you copied them and built that in New Orleans, you'd be a multimillionaire in a few years. You could flip it and make tens of millions. Why we don't have that, I'll never know. I remember Frank Patty. Hopefully he's still alive. He was up in age back then. He just mans the microphone. Number 72. I was waiting for my number to be called, and I was talking to Frank, and I was, hey, Frank, where did the best shrimp come from? And he was like specific. Off of Grand Isle, Barataria Bay. He was getting into specifics. Like, best shrimp in the world? I was like, yep. I'm like, I'm from Louisiana. Glad to hear that. He had no idea. He was just saying what he thought. No, I'm proud New Orleanian, proud Louisianian, glad I'm a native, love this state, love this city, love the people, love the seafood. Why would I settle and eat something else? You know who else loves the seafood around here? The Wong brothers at Trey Yen. They love the South Louisiana seafood bounty. I'm not kidding you when I say this. Trey Yen is one of our best seafood restaurants. Obviously with a Chinese flair, a Chinese twist, but it can be oysters or shrimp or crab, soft shells or jumbo lump crab meat. flounder, speckled trout. They take care of you at Trey Yen in Mandeville. You can pick up a curbside order, a to-go order. They'll walk it right out to your car, or dine inside. You North Shore folks, at the foot of the causeway in Mandeville. You South Shore folks, that means 25 minutes from Lakeside Mall. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine. Check them out this weekend. Check them out tonight. Trey Yen in Mandeville.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Our Humane May fundraiser is going on right now. In the month of May, we're trying to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. Donate right now at humanela.org.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Producing tomorrow's talk radio today, Corey Johnson.
This is tomorrow's newspaper. Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens.
Your View, Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. And live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
Future. Unbelievable.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Hey y'all, it's Junket Cantrell, Mayor, City of New Orleans. We've decided to hold a contest where you can decide where I go next on my taxpayer finance vacation. I was thinking about Acapulco, but that's in the Western Hemisphere, and we can do a lot better than that. Think Europe, Asia, maybe even the Middle East. You know, if it's safe. You don't want old Junket Cantrell getting hurt. It's all about my vacation, having fun and spending the city's money on my entertainment. I'll be flying first class, of course, and I'll be bringing some administrative flunkies with me. It should only cost the city around $30,000, maybe $40,000. Help me pick my next city finance vacation. Go online, Cantrell Junket at cityofno.gov, and have a feast day.
Nothing like a fleeced day. Speaking of Junket Cantrell, she's in Los Angeles for the New Orleans Corridor in LA ceremony. There's some party afterwards. The headlining musician, and I can't make this up, Irvin Mayfield. Wow. Of all the black musicians in New Orleans, the mayor picks Irvin Mayfield? Hey, let's go with the criminal, the guy that stole from the poor, who stole from inner city black kids, the library system in New Orleans, to the tune of $1.3 million. Now, shame on Zulu for hiring Irvin Mayfield. Zulu hiring Irvin Mayfield during Mardi Gras this year, that's how the story broke that he was out of jail. That Zulu had an announcement that he would be performing. I don't know what compels folks. Seriously, I have empathy, sympathy. I want to help the downtrodden. I want to help people that need a leg up. I like the underdog. Come on. If you watch or listen to this show, I'm not some, insensitive jerk. The opposite. But what compels people at Zulu or at the mayor's office? Hey, let's get Irvin Mayfield to perform. And what makes those people ignore all the legitimate black folks that bust their tail, that are musicians in this town? It's a hard gig being a musician. Ask many musicians. Some do it full-time. Some do it part-time and have another job to make ends meet. Can't do the music thing full-time and live. So musicians in New Orleans, it's a tough gig. You have to be dedicated. You have to work hard. You have to sacrifice. There are dozens and dozens, if not north of 100 legitimate black musicians that would love this gig, a paying gig, that would love a free airline ticket, that would love a hotel room paid for, food paid for, a free vacation to Los Angeles. There's a lot of black musicians that would love this, but there's just something weird that compels folks. And I think there's something broken about them and even something deviant about them. It isn't about let's help the downtrodden. Let's help somebody that made a mistake and needs a leg up, a hand up now. No, it's about let's help the crooked guy that hasn't changed. Talk to musicians in this town. Irvin Mayfield, not liked by too many musicians. Not respected by many musicians. Egocentric, narcissistic back then. Then after the theft and the jail time, what compels Zulu, what compels this mayor's administration to seek out and hire Irvin Mayfield? When so many other righteous New Orleanians that aren't crooked, that aren't dishonorable, that have ethics, integrity, morals, that will represent the city properly, would love the gig, would love the job. I just don't understand that loser mentality. I really don't, because that's what it is. Irvin Mayfield isn't remorseful, hasn't paid his dues, did just one of the worst crimes ever. Stealing, what do you have to do? Stealing from inner city black children, 1.3 million. And black adults of these children reward Irvin Mayfield. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. But shame on those folks, you know. It's like your slip is showing. You kind of expose who you are when you do gimmicks like that. Hey, Fausto's Italian Bistro, they're rolling right now. They'll go till 10 o'clock tonight on a Friday. They go 5 to 10 tomorrow night on Saturday. Veal piccata. I'm telling you, New York, Italy, maybe the best veal piccata anywhere. Thin slices of tender veal, a lemony sauce. Absolutely fantastic. Get the fettuccine Alfredo on the side with that dish. A little fresh, cracked black pepper. Start with the house salad with the homemade Italian dressing, some of that garlic bread, maybe the crab claw appetizer too. Wow, you won't be disappointed. And after 7:30, it cools down quite nice. Outdoor dining, white tablecloth outdoor dining. Sit at the bar, check out some sports action, dine at the dining room. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Till 10 p.m. tonight, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's families, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
That's what I said. Leidenheimer. That's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans, Leidenheimer French bread. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. If you need air conditioning help anytime, weekday, weekend, overnight, holiday, anytime this summer, just remember NOLAAC.com. That's all you need to remember, NOLAAC.com. And you can be rest assured that it's an honest air conditioning outfit. They're experts at what they do, and they come immediately. Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys, air conditioning experts that come immediately. Find them at NOLAAC.com. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. LSU beats Tulane earlier today, 7-2 in Baton Rouge. Fletcher Mackel joined us live from the regional in the 4 o'clock hour. Michael Hecht joined us from Greater New Orleans Inc., as he always does. And earlier this hour, the great Frank Brigtsen from his restaurant. Speaking of great, there he is. Wonderful Blue Boy, the world leader, the world champion. What's up, buddy? Thank Jason and the viewing and listening audience. Tell everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you at 4 p.m. next week. Good job, Blue Boy. You're right, buddy.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.